Welcome to Inspiring Others to Find Fulfillment. How you're doing? Hope you are still staying well and still staying safe. The pandemic is still very, very much, but we thank God that the numbers are reducing, and thank God for the vaccines. Please get yourself vaccinated, and when you take your second dose, it is not an avenue to let down your guard. Please keep your immune system still strong and stay away from crowded places and still use your masks until we are told to discontinue the use of masks. So please stay well and stay safe. And so what are we going to be discussing today? Offices are returning back. Our lives are getting back. The shops are opening. The offices are opening, and schools are opening too. So we have so many pendings, so much pendings, so many tasks to accomplish, so many deadlines to meet. So how do we ensure that all these are done? How do we ensure that we meet our deadlines? How do we ensure that we meet those things that we are supposed to do? So what are those things we're out to do to ensure that things are done properly, to ensure that we meet our deadlines? Meeting deadlines can wreck a workplace when things are not done at the right time, effectively and efficiently. And it can also wreck your own reputation. So how do we stay on to meet our targets? How do we ensure that we meet our targets? How do we ensure that our tasks are completed at the right time? So those tips that we're going to be looking at today is how to ensure that we complete our tasks. Those things that we're going to be looking at today is how to ensure that our deadlines are met without putting ourselves under unnecessary pressure. Deadlines. When we hear is that we are supposed to submit a task at so time, we get so agitated, we get so angry, and we begin to run and scatter. So, but what should we do to ensure that these things are done at the right time? To ensure that these things that we keep talking about, we do not put ourselves under unnecessary pressure. To ensure that these things are done and we complete our tasks, and in that we are getting fulfilled. In that we are adding value. Remember, this is a channel for you to get fulfilled. This is a channel for you to add value wherever it is that you are. So deadlines, a lot of us thrive on them. Yet many people find them so time consuming, so they get so angry because they cannot manage their time. Nonetheless, when the clock is counting down on an assignment on how to meet your deadline, you do not need to put yourself under pressure. You do not. What are those tips that you can do to ensure that your deadlines are met? A client, co-worker, a boss isn't just throwing out any old dates when they need something. Okay, a career consultant based in one of the countries says, he says how to get your job, how to get your next job, an inside look at what employers really want. Your contribution fits, if your contribution fits into a bigger project, and the pieces need to be put together. So take your time, take your deadline seriously. When you are given 3 weeks to complete a project, you might look at the 3 weeks is very long, it's very far, but before you know it, the 3 weeks deadline is here, and you begin to run scatter. And you begin to, how do I get this done? And you get yourself confused. At the end of the day, the task is either not done properly. You get confused. But when you set a deadline, when you meet yourself, you set those tasks, those things will be done properly. So not only making you a deadline practical way of avoiding inconveniences down the road, it also does a little something to you. It helps you to keep your reputation. By meeting your deadline consistently, people will know you and people will count on you. One of the great writers says they will see you as a professional and they will be willing to help you because they know you usually meet your deadlines. So when you are faced with a deadline, when you are faced with a task that needs a long deadline to be met, you have people that come in and they want to help you to make sure that you meet those deadlines, because that is usually what you do. They know that you complete your tasks at the right time and also efficiently. So let's talk about those tips on how to meet these deadlines. Make an assessment. Number one, make an assessment of that work, of that project that you have. Sit down, calculate it, look at it, assess the work. Take your time, look through it, read through the instructions. If you've done it before, go back to what you've done before and look at it. Look the experience that you've done. Use the experience that you've done in the past, you've used in the past. Look at it and get those jobs done. Some deadlines are frankly unattainable from the get-go. When you just look at them and say, oh, how do I meet this deadline? 3 days. How do I complete this job? What do I do? Especially when you are the only one on this task. So, like they say, if you are the only one that's supposed to fulfill this, if you are the only one that's supposed to complete this task, so how do you meet the deadlines? When you receive such an assignment with an unrealistic deadline, on unrealistic time bound, it's your responsibility to speak up. Don't just keep it to yourself. Don't just be grumbling. I will do it anyhow. I will do it, and just start wasting your time and you keep getting yourself depressed unnecessarily. Express your concerns to your line manager. Express your concerns to your boss. Ask if you can reach out to your co-workers. Ask if you can reach out for help. If you need help, please ask for you to be able to complete that task. I'm so good at that. When I have a task before me that I know that properly have not done before, you can never see me say no to a task. And you can never hear me say I can't do it. There is no can't in my dictionary. What I have is I can. Please bring it on. That also gives you a leverage for you to add value. It also gives you a leverage for you to research. Go to the web and search for help. What can I do to complete this? If you cannot get on the web, ask your co-workers, ask your team members for help, and I know they will help you. Okay, speak up. Ask for help from, like we said, from your co-workers. After all, it is better to push back up front than to accept an assignment, then fail to complete it on time. When you know from the get-go that this task that is placed before you cannot be completed, you can't do it alone, and you just sit down, remember your reputation is at stake. Remember, you want to let people know you're a professional. Remember, your performance management is there. You remember, your appraiser is there. So it's not something for you to take lightly at all. So it is for you to ask for help. It is time for you to ask for help. So when you know that this deadline it is unrealistic, please ask for help. Ask your line manager, ask your supervisor, if you can ask your co-worker to help you to complete this task. Once you get the help that is needed, share the accomplishments with everyone that was on that task, that was on that project. When that job is done, and you begin to get those praises, you begin to get those goals, you begin to get those words of affirmation, you begin to get those words of that makes your head to swell. Let them know you were not the only one that completed the project. You have your team members, you ask people that you ask for help that actually help you on that project. And let them know whenever they also need help that you are available to help them in future. So they will be glad to help you to complete that project. Number 2, get confirmation. When you must have gotten the task, you've assessed it, you've looked at it, You've looked at it from the beginning to the end. You've broken them down. You've looked at all the experience I had, the experience I used in my past projects. I want to apply it to this. Can you walk up to your manager? Can you walk up to your superior? Can you walk up to your boss and ask, please, when am I supposed to complete this task? When am I supposed to complete these projects? Set a time bound. 3 weeks, 2 days, 5 days, 1 month, 3 months. Gets a confirmation. Once you've determined the workload is manageable, your next step should be to ask your manager to confirm the deadline of that project. Then use your calculator, use your phone, use your Google Map, use your Google Calendar and set a time bound. Set that time. Let it be continue to remind you. You're supposed to complete this task in 4 days' time. You're supposed to complete this task in 3 days' time. You're supposed to complete this task in 1 week's time. Let the conscious reminder be there for it to remind you that this task is supposed to be completed at this particular time, and you work towards it. You don't wait at the last minute to start working. You begin to work now for that project to be done. Number 3, break down the projects, the tasks into mini deadlines. Break them down. You have a task that's supposed to be completed in 3 weeks. Break them down. In 1 day, 3 days, I must have completed this particular task. I must have completed this particular one. And as you begin to do that, if it's a project that's supposed to, let me give for example, you want to build a house. You're giving yourself 3 years, I'm going to build this house. Break it down. In 1 month or in 6 months, I'm going to ensure that I have all the blocks I'm going to use to build a duplex. I want to have all those blocks. If you're going to be using 1 million blocks, in 3 months, I want to ensure that I have these 1 million blocks available. That is mini deadlines. Mini deadlines, you have your blocks available for the duplex that you want to build. Mini deadlines, you break them into mini deadlines, into different tasks. And when that is accomplished, you move into the next one. Next task. Remember, you've broken your projects, you've broken your tasks into mini deadlines. So not just leaving everything in vague and just I'm going to just be doing that all alone. I'm just going to just continue to do it without having a deadlines. You might be confused, and you might not be able to meet your deadline when you're supposed to meet it. So ensure that you have your deadlines, mini deadlines assigned to you, and you take them one after the other. When one is done, please move to the next one. So break your deadline. So instead, set a deadline for specific tasks. Like this is what we are talking. Set a deadline for specific tasks for that big project to be more manageable. Before you know it, 3 years is here. You've completed your duplex, and when people see it, they'll be wondering, how did you complete it under 3 years? When did you start? Remember, you broke your deadlines into mini deadlines. You did not just leave it. I have 3 years to complete this duplex. So I'm just going to, when it's that 3 years, I'm just going to just continue to do it and whatever. You've broken them down. That is number 3. Number 4, reward yourself. I love to pamper myself. You know, I keep telling my friends, I'm a YOLO babe. YOLO. You only live once. And when it is time for you to celebrate yourself, please celebrate yourself. When you've accomplished a task, when you've accomplished a milestone, please celebrate yourself. Learn to celebrate yourself. Don't wait until somebody celebrates you. Celebrate yourself. Celebrate your milestone. Celebrate those mini deadlines that you've accomplished. If you are doing a task in the office and you set yourself, so in the next 3 days I want to finish this, and the 3 days has come, you completed it efficiently, effectively, and it is done perfectly. Please take yourself out for lunch for that day. Eat, relax. And if it's 15 minutes job that you want to do, 1 hour, step away from your computer. Move away, relax your brain. Relax your brain. Have a chat with a friend so that at least you can put everything under control and you begin to manage the pressure. Celebrate or reward yourself. If you need to, whatever it is that you want to do to reward yourself for that task, for that many deadlines you've done, for that measure you've completed, for that milestone you've completed, please learn to celebrate yourself. It goes a long way. It will also boost you. It will boost your morale to move on. It will boost your morale to keep going on because you've done one. You've completed one before. The energy, the grace, that commitment, that motivation that made you to start at all, and you've done this, will definitely ponder you on, and you keep going, and you've completed it. So learn to celebrate your small wins. Give yourself that mental boost that you need to keep going. Reward yourself when your mini deadline is accomplished. Like we said, step away from your desk if you need to. Take a walk, sometimes drive around, relax a little bit, and give yourself a breather. Give yourself a breather before you can continue your work. So treat yourself well when you meet a deadline, when you've completed that milestone. Treat yourself well. Number 5, block off your time. Block off your time. Devoting blocks of time in your calendar for specific tasks will enable you to utilize your time at work and meet your deadline. For instance, you know that you have a deadline to meet by 10 a.m. or 11 a.m. Like we said, put it on Google Calendar. Set an alarm that will help you, that will remind you of what you are supposed to do at that time so that you don't forget. We can all be lost in the affairs of this world. We can all be so engrossed with whatever it is that we are doing, and we forget that we have an appointment by 10 a.m. Things might come up, emergencies might come up, and you forget that you have an appointment by 11 a.m. So block your time. Block your time. Set a reminder that you're supposed to give an update to a particular person. You're supposed to give an update to your subordinates on how a particular task is going on how a particular project is going on. You're supposed to have a meeting with your team members so that you can all brainstorm together on how to complete a particular project, on how to complete a particular task. So when you do that, when it rings, you are consciously reminded about this task, and it makes you not to forget. It makes you to be able to keep your appointments within yourself, that you are not going to break it. When that time comes, when the reminder comes by 10 a.m., you are not going to break your appointments. Then number 6, give yourself some breathing room. Give yourself some breathing room. When carry out those time blocks in your calendar, it is also important to factor in emergencies. It is also important to factor in time wasters. It is also important to factor in that sometimes there are distractions. When you're supposed to complete a task by 10 a.m. and you didn't meet it, it is not time to beat yourself. It is not time to call yourself a failure. It is not time to start getting angry unnecessarily. But it is time for you to add another time. To say, yes, I couldn't complete this task by 10 a.m. You can give time when we complete it by 10 a.m. You can say, well, I should be able to complete it between 10 a.m. and 10:30. You factor in some time. You factor in those times, those emergencies. You factor in those distractions that could come in. And by 10:30, you are able to complete those tasks. So it is important to factor in additional time, especially for detail-oriented tasks that will require you to proofread your work. This will give you more time to add or to fix whatever thing that needs to be touched in that job, that needs to be touched on that task that you are doing without feeling under unnecessary pressure. Another reason for you to factor in extra time that you've given yourself, in as much as you say you should block your time, you should block your calendar, is interruption may occur. Interruption may occur. Your boss might come to you, do this, and you leave that. You say, I have a task, I'm supposed to complete this. You have to put that on one side and do the next one. Emergency might come in. You need to get so date. You need to get to so place. You might want to go to those. Anything could happen. So don't put yourself under unnecessary pressure. Do it and ensure that you do it well. Factor in extra time, extra days, that you will be able to complete these tasks at this particular time. Life happens, they say. So, and if you have a setbacks and delays, not time to beat yourself. It is time to just pour yourself on and keep going with that extra time. Number 7, eliminate distractions. Eliminate distraction. So staying focused is very crucial in order for you to meet your tasks. In order for you to beat that deadline, you need to remain focused. Of course, many people make mistakes of getting sidetracked by their smartphones. Our smartphones are one of the distractions that we have. It can distract you. Your phone, when you're busy, your phone is busy ringing. You want to attend to this issue, you want to attend to that issue. Sometimes you want to put up that phone for you to be able to complete that task, for you to be able to meet that deadline. Sometimes you want to put up the phone, maybe for 30 minutes, maybe for 1 hour, and you will be able to return back, or you put it on silent in case you don't want to miss anything. You put it on silence so that it will not distract you. You understand? So your best approach, sometimes either you put the phone off, or you put it up on alerts, or you put it up on silent so that it will not distract you. So, and sometimes there are some of your co-workers that like to chat. We have them all around. Co-workers that want to chat with you even when you are busy. They are there even when you are busy. They are chatting with you, your head is down, and you are not looking at them. They keep talking. Sometimes you want to close your door, or you set away, you go away from where you are to a quiet place. And if you are in your house, you want to close your door, or you want to go into a quiet place, or sometimes you want to hang a sign there, busy, on the door. Let people know you're busy, you have a task for the next 3 hours to complete. So this will give a signal to whoever it is that is coming that this particular person is busy at so time. You might want to put a time there for the next 3 hours. I will not be available. For the next 1 hour, I will not be available. I have a task to be done. So they all know, and you will not be disturbed. So sometimes you want to do that in order to ensure you meet your deadlines. And the last but not the least, capitalize on your success. Capitalize on your success. Remember, we said meeting your deadline is also a way for you to build your reputation. It's a way for you to build your reputation. So building a reputation for yourself as someone who always meets their deadlines will go a long way, especially when it comes for your manager to review your performance, when it's comes for your manager to appraise you on a particular task. Your reputation, what you do, will definitely count. I'm not talking about hollow strategy. I'm not talking about a hollow strategy. I'm not talking about recent one. I'm talking about those ones that actually appraise you on your job. Those ones that those managers that actually appraise you on things that you've been doing, not things that you've done today. You understand? So you want to make sure that you build the right reputation in order for you to get the right review. So, but being able to get your work done effectively and efficiently is one way of becoming a star employee, one way of becoming the star girl, one way of becoming the star man, one way of becoming the best employee for the month, one way of becoming the best employee for the year. So ensure you continue to meet your deadlines. Ensure your reputation in meeting your deadline will never miss it. Thank you so very much once again for joining me. And I know you've learned one or two things from this broadcast. So like we always say, we want to hear from you. We want to know what you feel about meeting deadlines. If we are actually talking and making sure that your deadlines are met without you putting yourself under pressure. So we want to hear from you once again from all our social networks. Follow me on all my social media networks, and I want to connect with you. I want to hear from you. I also want to learn from you. I want to add more value to myself and to you, and also for you to add value to me also. So we want to hear from you. So please follow me on all my social media networks. I remain yours sincerely, Omojuwa-Okiye, on all my platforms. And thank you